The topic of this workshop is steps 1, 2, and 3. I would like to introduce our first speaker, Lawrence, on the first step.
Lawrence, recovering addict.
Hey, Lawrence.
Thank God for Narcotics Anonymous. You know, when I first speak, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Right? Nah. I immediately call my sponsor. Immediately. You know, because my ego's not my amigo. Right? And I'm breathing to share when I share, right? Because my image always shows the fuck up. I gotta check my ego at the door. That's my sponsor say, go and share, you can do that. Wasn't permission, I just need guidance. I still need guidance. Right? Because I can come in here, put the hat on backwards and do the bullshit that I came in here with, that I hate, that I try to address a day at a time, right? The ego, right? But disease of addiction shows up in other areas of my life that has nothing to do with drugs. Right? When you first get here, we're talking about the drugs. The drugs is my enemy. The drugs will always be my enemy, right? But after I stay clean for a little while, I can't blame the drug no more. So now I gotta take responsibility for my actions, right? Which is still hard to do with 26 years clean. I still want to act out and blame my disease. So I came through the door, and what God do, right? He put the newcomer right in my face, bam! Right in my face, boom! And I go back to when I was new, with 40 days clean, right? So I'm here, right? Only to God's grace and mercy, right? I came to support somebody, you know. I still need to be loved. I still need to be accepted. So I'm grateful when I call my phone. He said, yo man, go ahead. You can do it. You know. So I'm thinking, I gotta do step 1, 2, and 3. Damn, that's a lot of work. Only to ask somebody, say, oh, you're only doing step 1. So when you first get here, step 1 is primarily about using drugs, right? When you out the muck and the mire, when you're still thinking about, am I good enough? How can I measure up to this new way of life? You're already a winner. Once we stop using, I done got a raise. And I ain't talking about monetarily. I ain't talking about the girlfriend back, the kids back. I'm talking about I don't have to use drugs just for today. What a relief. What a relief. Right? And now I'm thinking that I know how to think. I'm here to tell you that with 26 years, I still can't make a rational decision on a constant basis. I still need to be guided. I still act out in the meeting if you look at me the wrong way. So I need to tap into the power that's greater than me, which is you. Right? I still my strong seeds, right? That to check it out, the we is bigger than me. If this was the me program, I'd probably be on the West Side Highway, smoking. So that's where I come from, the West Side Highway. If you've ever been in New York, go West Side Highway. You stop on 51st, if you stop on 50th Street and you look back, it's like a little trestle. You could be under, and right under there, you would have found me. So your guy prayed me into Narcotics Anonymous. And I'm forever grateful. Because sometimes I still feel like I don't belong here. So step 1, we can understand that we're powerless over disease of addiction. What's disease of addiction when I first got here? Using drugs. But as I stay, it takes on different hats. Now I'm no longer getting high But now I want to act like I know some shit. So if I don't be careful, disease of addiction, right, has the power to play me out of pocket in any given moment. On my job, in my household with my wife. You know, she fried the chicken too hard. Yo, we got an argument. The chicken ain't fried right. It's like, check it out, right? Because I got a peaceful household. I really do. But sometimes I like drama. I need to be in some kind of turmoil. You know, so I go home and, you know, my wife is not a recovering addict. So she don't understand this process. She don't understand that, you know, the people out of my life that are nurturing me to be a better man. To be a grown-up man. At 67 years old, my thinking is still warped. I don't know where you come from. My thinking, I still need to be guided. I still need to be guided. Doing step work, half step work, got a sponsor. I still need to stay focused. And so, I stay in step one. I stay in the process of knowing that, check it out, even knowing that I'm powerless give me some power. And how does that work for me? Well, I know that if I act on my job, I get fired. And most of the time I want to act on my job because the people I don't like on my job, right? But when I surrender, right, you know, this is the only program you can surrender and win. Like, you know, I had a cat on my job, right? And he like using the N-word. Like that. That offended me. Right? He used the N-word openly. And then he didn't just use it around, I want to say black folk, right? He used it around everybody. So I really feel double offended, right? So I told him, I went to HR and I told him, and now he got attitude, and now I'm in my feelings. Now I'm gonna beat him up. And so I had to tell myself, check it out, Lawrence. Central booking, open 24 hours. Surrender. I can't control what he said, but and I understood, you know, this new world that we in, the N-word is accepted. It's just accepted. I don't like it, but it's accepted. Everybody using it. I don't like it, but it's accepted, you know. And I understand that he's younger than me, and where he come from, that's what they do. But don't do it on their job. Or at least don't do it in front of me. Right? So, you know, we went through our situations on the job. And God, once I surrendered, God stepped in, and the guy who's using the N-word stopped smoking marijuana. He said, "Yo, Lawrence, I stopped smoking marijuana." He said, "I might go through some withdrawals because, you know, I'm detoxing my body." And I could tell him that, "Yo, check it out, my son went through withdrawals of smoking marijuana." And God, the relationship we have now is better. You know, we talking, we're not breaking bread, we're not kumbayaing, but it's workable, right? And that's only through the power of the program. The we is bigger than me. So I had to tap into the power. I can't do this by myself. It won't work by myself. And, you know, so I'm grateful, man, that I no longer have the luxury of blaming the drug. I gotta stand up and be accounted for. Right? I'm so grateful that Kathie's in my life. She didn't even know that her calm demeanor, and she wasn't always calm. Let's not get the fool, because you know when you get people in your life, you gotta go find out how they really was, check their resume, but
Yeah.
I know that
Talk about it.
she wasn't always that way, but her demeanor rubs off on me, and I strive to be like. But the most important person in any house meeting is the newcomer. Thank you for allowing us to pray for you and you accepting our prayers. I was telling the person a minute ago, I got a sister, right? 9:45. Wake up. Get up. Go use. Right now. Right now. And I'm grateful it ain't me. And I'm grateful it ain't you. So when God says, God didn't say any, meeny, miny, mo. You come. It's a decision we make. Right? And the decision requires action. So I'm grateful that you took the action to get better, a day at a time. Right? And so the first step for me is about surrender, right? Being willing, letting us help you to the other side. And check it out, the newcomer don't even know, right? Check it out, the newcomer don't even, I love about the newcomer, they don't even know that they're helping us. They don't even know, they don't have a clue. They think we goddamn, you got me. Because I just found a new friend in Jersey somewhere that I can call anytime I get my thinking. Right? So if you're new to myself, just please stay. Allow us to love you until you learn to love yourself, and in return you can love somebody else. That's how this thing works. That's why I stay connected. That's how I connect the dots. I'm grateful this is an intimate meeting. Real small. I got my sponsor always tell me, Lawrence, your ego's not your amigo. Right? I still live on image time sometimes, but I got better with that. So surrender is key for me. This program works for me to recover. I was reading the Impossible Dream, the book for addicts. It's a book that we got, The Impossible Dream. And I read about 10 pages, right? And when I read about the first 10 pages, the feeling I got of the predecessors who prayed for me to get here, right? When I was just in my, I wasn't even thought about then, right? The work they had to do for us to be here. The work they had to do for us to be here. I am forever grateful for them. I got a new look on how I act in meetings. How I should sit my ass down in meetings. Because at one time, we can have this format. We had to meet on the Staten Island Ferry. That was crazy. To gather together. Huh? I'm grateful this thing is about me. That's about me, but it ain't about me. That if I forget the working effort it took for us to get this, huh? You ungrateful bastard, huh? Because they ain't no longer about me. It's about the potential addict coming through the door. That's why I'm here. If I forget that, when I was using, right, and you guys prayed for me to get here, huh? You ain't say black addict, white addict, Puerto Rican addict, German addict. You said addict. You prayed for me in a circle. No name. Just a spirit. And thank you. So I hope that one day my sister who's suffering, right, can get what we got. One day. Oh, man. man. Because in my mind, look, the people out there think, the people who are earthlings, they think you reach a point of no return. That's not true. And I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna say this. And I'm gonna set it down. I'm on the train going to work one day, right? There's a guy on the bench sleeping. There's a girl over here with no shoes on. She's doing this. And I remember her because I ride the train often. I'm sitting to the left of me, there's a guy talking about them, right? But he don't know I was one of them, right? And he pulls a bottle out of his pocket and take a sip. And I want to tell him, 10 o'clock in the morning, he took a sip of vodka. That's what I do every day. And I want to tell him, oh, my man, you don't know. She wasn't born that way, neither was he. If I tell you my story, you put that fucking vodka away. Right? Because the bum wasn't born a bum. The crackhead wasn't born a crackhead. I wasn't born with an IV needle on my arm. I made a decision to get high. And you guys pray for me to stop getting high. And that's why I'm here. And that's why we're here. And that's what we do. That's why we do what we do. Huh? Our primary purpose is to fan the flame of desire for the potential addict. And then we bring it home for the people who's already here to stay here. Because without me praying for you, can you imagine? I'm going to go. If they stop meetings today, I'll never use again. Because I got the formula. Don't use no matter fucking what. No NA, no AA, no CA, no KA, no PA. Don't use no matter what. That's why I learned Narcotics Anonymous. That's what keeps me here. Don't use no matter what. Thanks for letting me share.
Please help me welcome second speaker, David A. on the second step.
I'm David, I'm an addict.
David, you don't need to.
We're good. First and foremost, I want to thank God for another day clean, another day alive. I'm real clear, it don't have to be like this. If you're new to Narcotics Anonymous, you're just coming back, please stay here. We do this together, what I definitely couldn't do alone, right? And listen, thanks for all being here, right? It's early. There's all kinds of meetings going on the other side of the building there, and we're in this huge room. Can you all hear me? No. And, right, I can identify with the ego, right? I can identify. Last night when we walked over here, and listen, Lawrence, thank you for stepping up, right? For those that don't know, like Lawrence wasn't supposed to speak, and Lauren was coming down to support my friend Kathie from New York, and some things happened, some people couldn't make it, and Lawrence was kind enough to step up, but like, don't get it confused. That man kept the doors open for a guy like me. That guy kept the doors open for a guy like you, woman like you, whatever, right? Like, he stepped up to the plate with 26 years clean to show a guy like me that when we're called upon, we have to show up. So thank you. Thank you. And I was supposed to chair, and some speakers from New York were supposed to come where I'm from originally, and God had another plan, and now I'm here, and Josh is here, but that's what we do, right? Like, that's what we do in Narcotics Anonymous. When asked to do service in Narcotics Anonymous, after we get some time away from the drinking and the drugs and the women and the gambling and the smoking cigarettes and the caffeine addiction, whatever else you could fit in my stem, because it's all of it, right? We start to do service, selfless service when called upon in here. And I'm not confused. That's what I was taught by people like you, right? That without service, this doesn't happen. And without this, I'm the same guy Lawrence just described before you got here, right? Addict is the same. And I'm forever grateful for the process. I'm forever grateful for the coming to believe process, which is what step 2 is, right? Which is where I'm at. Very unprepared, and I just know that God's going to do what God does, because He always does. I don't have to worry, right? It's no longer about how many people are in here. It's no longer, are we using the microphone or are we not? Because that's who I was when I got here, right? I thought I was going to be circuit convention speaking, traveling the world, paid appearances, right? Like, I'm talking about the insanity that I struggle with. I don't know about anybody else, right? But ego, pride, and image, inferiority complex would tell you that I think I should rule the world. And felt less than from the time I was this big to any given moment today, with steps in my life, with traditions in my life, with a sponsor in my life, with a sponsor who has a sponsor, with sponsees in my life. On any given day, I can start to think I'm in charge, right? And thank God I came to believe, right? So how did I come to believe, right? That's what I want. When I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, when I found out I was going to speak and when I wasn't going to speak, what am I going to talk about? It was, how did I come to believe, right? Because I think it is so important, and I talk about it often when I'm asked to speak on 2 and 3, right? That, you know, step 1 tells us I don't have to use no more. If I don't want to, that's what I was taught, I don't have to use again. I'm talking about what? What do you mean? Since I was stealing baseball cards, right? We talked about that. Stealing baseball cards at a young age, like, I was using, and I had to use, right? The speaker last night said something too. The main speaker, I think it was the main one, but either way, right? I can remember being at high school parties. I can remember my parents were divorced, and I can remember having to go to my dad every other weekend, and my girlfriend being at high school parties. And I can remember always worrying at 13 years old if my middle school girlfriend was going to cheat on me, right? And then high school, and then adult life. Like, it just, the addict insanity that went on between my ears every day, not any given day, every day from the time I was very small, had me hostage. When the disease said march, I marched, right? I got here like everybody else. I used and I lost. I lost it all. Garbage bags of clothes. And me and God were not cool when I got here. I was punished. Why me? Poor me. Why did you do this to me? You know, why all the pain? Why all the suffering? Why all the breakups? Why the loss of job? Why the loss of my physical? I don't know what the right. I broke my back. Bottom line, I broke my back. Now I'm in chronic pain. You know, I can't play sports anymore. I can't work the way I used to work. I was an iron worker in New York City. I can't do that anymore. Now I'm an opiate addict from a guy whose drug of choice was more. Now I'm reduced to an animalistic style of living, laying in bed, copping a nod, drooling on myself, burning holes in my clothes, wanting to die. So I was when I got here. 10 years, 2 months, and 14 days later, I can tell you I am not that guy. For those of you who are newer than myself, who don't know what that applause is for, it was not for my clean time. It was for what we do here in Narcotics Anonymous. I am a firm believer in that. That applause is for what God has given us in the form of the program. I didn't make that up. It's in the book. It's a God-given program. It's in the book. That applause was for Narcotics Anonymous, right? So I came and God gave me a sponsor, right? I didn't ask Terry G to be my sponsor. He just came up to me and said, get in the car. And he took me to the diner and he asked me what happened. And I gave him a 4-hour speech. And at the end of it, he said, are you done? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, just be quiet. Actually, he told me to shut up. But we'll give it the easier, softer way. He told me, be quiet, sit up front, keep my hand out of the air, learn to listen and listen to learn. That's how I got it, right? And there's someone in this room who watched me do that for 1 year. I'm talking about taking instruction on blind faith, without a God, without a network, without sponsees, without any step work. I'm talking about taking the first good, orderly direction I had taken since I was a young boy, and that was to sit up front, keep my hand out of the air, learn to listen and listen to learn. If we want to get high, we'll call on you. You need to learn life-saving measures in the form of the 12 steps, in the form of the Narcotics Anonymous program, in the form of sponsorship, in the form of coming to believe, in the form of turning my will over to a God of my understanding to help me get another day clean. And because I did what I was instructed to do, I watched more experienced members shake and move in Narcotics Anonymous. And if you want to know how I came to believe, this is how I came to believe. I was told in the morning to hit my knees and just ask for help. Not ask for things, not ask for the car, not ask to get out of the sober living, not ask for more money in my bank, not ask for my driver's license back, not ask for none of it. even though I wanted it all. And I wanted it all yesterday. I got 31 days clean. Why isn't life getting better? And I was taught it took me 20 years to walk into the woods. It might not take me 20 years to walk out of the woods, but I wasn't going to walk out of the woods overnight. It took some time to get in there. It's going to take me some time to get out. But slowly over a period of time, just like the program works in our life, slowly over a period of time, I can get myself back. I can become a better man. I can get a God in my life. I can do an inventory. I can make amends. I can keep a constant contact. I can carry the message. And I can be restored to sanity. To be restored to sanity, that means I had to believe that I was insane. Right? I was taught that if we do step work on day 31, I don't know what I think, I don't know what I like, I don't know what I don't like, I don't know what makes me tick. How am I going to do any type of honest assessment? And how am I going to get through the feelings and emotions attached with the honest assessment if I don't have a God and a power that I can tap into on my darkest moment to fill the void that the drugs filled for so long? So I asked for help every morning. And then I did what I was told to do, and that was make meetings all day. Right? All day. Morning, noon, and night. You don't have a job? Good. That's what I was told. Your job is to learn how to stay clean. If you don't learn how to stay clean, it's not going to matter what job you have later. Right? So I asked for help, and I made meetings till I was blue in the face. And the program worked without my permission. I did not want to be restored. I did not want to get a God. I didn't know anything about filling a void with something healthy instead of something unhealthy, something spiritual in nature, because the disease is spiritual in nature. I did not want to be an addict. I did not want to make meetings. I did not want to go to conventions. I did not want to be asked to speak in a room this size with 10 people in it. None of it. And without my permission, I'm still here, doing what we do, and I don't care if there's 2 people in the room or 150. We share the same. I act the same. I talk the same. You guys taught me to do that when nobody's looking, no matter who's in the room. The group's the most powerful vehicle, all of it, right? So it doesn't matter how big or how small. When Narcotics Anonymous calls, I owe a debt I can never repay. Somebody says that back in New York, and I can't remember who it was. But I owe a debt to Narcotics Anonymous that I can never repay. The life that I am living today, which is a life worth living that I never possibly could have had, is a direct result of the God of my understanding, sponsorship, doing step work, and staying a productive, active, excited, enthusiastic, passionate member of Narcotics Anonymous. I say it all the time. I was extremely enthusiastic and passionate about getting high. I better be extremely enthusiastic about staying clean, or I might be doomed to repeat, right? You talked about that, the built-in forgetters, that even without the drug I can make a mess if I'm not talking to the power, right? I asked for help, I made meetings, and I watched and listened to the more experienced member learn to love again, learn to cry again, learn to laugh again, learn to lean on each other, learn to talk about asking for guidance with 26 years clean. Like, listen, if I'm in Lawrence's shoes, I know I can share here. With 26 years clean, step work, some other things that you do back in the area, right? I know that. But you had to call your sponsor? Like, for me to think on any given day that I don't need to check in with a sponsor or a sponsee who can restore me faster or as fast as a sponsor, I got it twisted. Left to my own thinking, I make bad decisions. Lawrence talked about it, right? I got to tap into the power. The first step, it says it in the textbook that it's like a vacuum, that we put down the drugs, and it's like a vacuum that leaves a void completely in my spirit. And if I don't fill it with something spiritual in nature, that I'm in trouble, right? My coming to belief process was all about watching the more experienced member. They poured their life into me. They cheered for me. They clapped for me. Standing room only at anniversaries. I'm talking about making me feel something that I never thought I could feel, right? And thanking God at night. And that's how I came to believe. That's how I started to learn to turn my will over, right? And at the end of the year, I didn't know that I was working steps 1, 2, and 3 long before. It says that in our literature also, right? That we're working the steps long before we realize we're working the steps. And we sat down after the year, and he said, so what do you think? And I was like, yeah, everything's great. Let's get to work. He said, you've been working. And I said, well, what do you mean I've been working? And he said, well, You came, we sat in a diner, you poured your heart out, you told me you didn't want to use it anymore, and that you had destroyed your life. You admitted that you were powerless and your life was unmanageable. 2, you came to believe that you had to come to Narcotics Anonymous 3 times a day, sometimes more on the weekends, go to the events, have a sponsor, call me, take direction, sit up front, keep your hand out of the air, learn to listen, listen to learn. You came to believe that your thinking on your own was totally insane and that you had to do something different in order to be restored to sanity. And you turned your will over, right, not to get into 3 because I don't want to take my friend's thunder over there, but that I was asking to stay clean, doing the work in between, and thanking him at night, paying homage that I knew I didn't do it on my own, and that I had indirectly turned my will over to a God that I didn't even understand at that time, so I'm not going to call it my understanding, but to something greater than myself, right? And all that we suggest, and it's not my suggestion, also in the textbook, is something loving, caring, and greater than David, right? That if I make it that chair, if I make it that doorknob, and I go to that doorknob when my back's against the wall, I might find myself with a stem in my hand. I might find myself with a spike in my elbow, right? It has to be something spiritual in nature that's bigger than myself. It does say that it can be the group. The book says it can be the group. It was the group for me in the beginning until it developed into what I call God, right? And like the old me, I had crosses tattooed on me. I used to wear a chain and this, that, and the other. And I thought I was the guy on the chain, right? I was in control. I was running the show. I'll figure it out, only to find out that my way sucks. My way sucks, right? And I just went through a storm. How much time do I got? What is that?
10 minutes.
Okay. So listen, I just
okay.
went through a storm, right? I just went through a real storm, and there's a couple people in here who know about it. And I just went through a situation that I never saw coming. It happened last Thursday, and it lasted till Tuesday. And when I tell you I was totally insane over what was going on in my life, it is nothing more than the truth, right? And listen, I was basically accused of infidelity last Thursday, right? From a woman who I've been with for 7 years, married to. I'm a stepfather to her child. She's not one of us. And she was going through some stuff. And, I keep bringing up my friend Kathie because Kathie's been with me. She's my day one, right? She took me to my first convention in Ocean City, Maryland. She was my biggest cheerleader back in Mount Vernon. And she loved me when I couldn't love myself. And for that, I'm forever grateful. And all I know is for 10 years, 2 months, and 14 days, in here in Narcotics Anonymous, I haven't been perfect in every area, but there's one area where I have been perfect, and that is in relationship with another female, dating, marriage, whatever. If I was messing around with someone, we were messing around. If I was in a relationship, I was in a faithful relationship. And when I got married, it has been that way since. So when it came at me from left field, right, I did service for another member of Narcotics Anonymous who was in a pinch. Something was going on in her house. She needed help. I did what we do here. I told my wife where I was going, how long I was going to be there. I'm talking about being responsible, accountable, right? Things that you guys taught me here. Man of principle. That when I mean what I say what I mean. When I tell you I'm going somewhere, that's where I'm going. Play by play, where I was going, how long I was going to be, and nothing, not one iota of it was wrong. I was back in the right amount of time, the right place, doing exactly what I said I was going to do, and by Thursday night, I was doing absolutely everything wrong behind closed doors, behind people's backs, basically being accused of infidelity. And it was a really tumultuous 6 days. One that the word divorce was being floated around my house. And if I'm being totally honest, it was probably being floated around my head with my insane thinking between my ears more than it was being floated around my house. But my head tells me that's what everybody's thinking. My wife's thinking, I'm thinking it, my kids probably think, the dog might be thinking we're getting divorced, right? I'm talking about the conversations I have with myself when I'm left with quiet. I went far. Thank God I have certain things in place in my life to protect me from this and God from... Talking to sponsors about it, talking to sponsees about it. I'm just talking about doing what you guys told me to do, right? That the disease exposed can die. The disease exposed to the light can die, right? And pain shared is pain lessened, right? And left to my own self, I probably would have done one of a few things. One, I would have went and sat in a casino and gambled, right? Because I just don't want to feel. I just need distractions, right? And I can go, God, get me through this. Like, I know it's your will, not mine. And then as soon as that prayer is done in 30 seconds, now I'm stuck in the house again for another 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds, thinking about what's going on here. And I didn't do nothing wrong, right? And I stood on my principles that you guys taught me. Honesty. Got a little open-minded towards the 5th and 6th day, and became willing to make some effort because I wanted to be restored to sanity. I was so sick, physically, mentally. People I talked to were worried about me. Thank you. It was bad, but I stood on principles, and I knew that I had done nothing wrong. And it came out that my wife was dealing with something else internally that caused the exact nature to get twisted up and brought to me in this direction. What I'm getting at is, through Narcotics Anonymous, through sponsorship, through coming to believe that at any given moment I can be restored to sanity, through turning my will over, through sponsees, through the network, through coming to meetings and talking about what I'm going through now, I can get to the other side of something without making a mess of every other area of my life. Not going to get an escort in Atlantic City. Not cheating on my wife because someone suspected me cheating. I'm talking about who I used to be versus who I am now, right? I'm talking about, I knew I was right and I wasn't going to, the old me, even when I was right, I was wrong because my behaviors attached to whatever scenario was going on ruined any chance I had at defending myself. Because I would get a hooker, go gambling, not show up for work, get fired, spend all the bank. I'm talking about insanity. Even when I am right about something. And the disease can do that to me with 1 day clean, 10 years clean, 20, it doesn't matter. The disease is stuck with me and I'm stuck with it. All I know is I have to come here, have to learn how to do this thing for more experienced members. I have to get a God of my understanding that I can tap into on my darkest hour, right when I'm laying in bed at midnight and I got nowhere to turn and no one to call and the sponsor's not answering the phone and sponsees are sleeping because they're home with their wife and kids. Where am I going to go? The doorknob is not going to cut it. I need something great. I need something powerful. I need something strong. I need something loving and caring, bigger than David, to get me through the storm, right? And that's my coming to believe and my turning the will over in a nutshell. And I'm just so grateful that I have a program. I'm just so grateful that I have a program. My program was David's program, and David's program sucks, right? So with that, I'm going to quote our friend Bob and say, I think I'm out of gas. This was a shock. I really thought I was going to be sharing and listening and enjoying myself with friends of mine that I don't get to see very often. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have a program so that when I'm thrust into service, I have the information, right? I'm grateful that the more experienced members have given me the information. I've learned to live the information so that I can then try to carry the message to the newcomer who needs to learn the information, right? This program is awesome. If you're new, please stay here. We do this together, right? I can't do this without you. And if you think you could do it without us, we urge you to reconsider. We want you to stay here with us because our track record shows that when we go out on our own, we make some bad decisions. So with that, thank you for the honor and the privilege, and thank you for letting me share.
I'd like to welcome our third speaker, Kathie, on the third step.
Hi, family. My name is Kathie, and I'm an addict.
Hi, Kathie.
I think we can kind of end it. Like, that was great. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's nothing more left to do. So my topic, I have the third step. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. I'm really kind of thrown off by the size of this room. I feel like it's entirely too large. It takes my focal point back there. I'm still a little nervous. I'm going to just start off by saying I'm tired. I'm really emotional. My focus is off. I do not practice this program perfectly. I've been here for 22 years, 11 months, and a day. Right? And I don't say that for that. I say it because there is no there. Like, you don't get there. You don't arrive because you have clean time. Like, there's no arrival. Every time that I wake up, I have to make a decision to ask God to help me. When I first did the step work, it was basically just about the drugs, and I thought that I had a grasp of it. You know what I mean? I thought that I knew I was powerless. I'm insane. I need God. But, you know, they give you this rote kind of way of learning the steps. The practical application is a whole other situation, right? That don't even look like what the step work looked like. I remember the first time that I had to turn my will and my life over to this care of God. I was diagnosed, you know, when you smoke crack, you're crazy. That's the bottom line. But I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, ADHD, mild depression, I think something else, right? So they send you to the psych and they give you medication. For some reason, my body was not taking the medications. They were switching off the medication after medication after medication, and I was still kind of insane, right? I was having a lot of trouble. In the meantime, my Medicaid was cut off, and I didn't have any way to access medication or services. So I go to the psychiatrist, and I'm telling him, like, yo, I can't get no meds. I need you to give me meds. He said, do you believe in God? I said, what? He said, do you believe in God? I said, yeah. He said that I'm going to need you to dig deep because there's nothing more that I can do for you. That was my first real experience with really having to turn my will over to the care of this God of my understanding, because I didn't understand Him to be helping, loving, caring. I went through the steps. You guys were my God. The group was my God. Right? That was God for me. That was my understanding. But in that situation, in that moment, you guys couldn't help me with that. I had to find something greater than me, greater than y'all, greater than my understanding. And I had to sit with Him and trust that everything was going to be okay. That was one of the first times, the earliest memories that I can really remember having to have the practical application of that step. As time goes on and my understanding of God changes and how willful I am becomes more clear. My daughter had a baby. My will has always been to get married, to have these children, 2.5 kids, the house, the picket fence, this guy that's going to love me and take care of me, have this marriage. That's my will. And I've done my life in that way, right? I pick you up, I clean you off, I dust you off. I don't care nothing, because in my mind, this is what I want. It's not about God, His will. It's none of that. I'm willful. I feel like I'm a little all over the place because I am. Because emotionally, I feel spent and drained. But my daughter... I never had the relationship with my daughter. I didn't have a relationship with my mom. I don't have a relationship with my son. I didn't get married. My daughter gets pregnant and she has a baby. Part of those dreams are coming through. I'm going to be a grandmother. Thank you, God. Right? He's giving me my will. This is what I want. So this child... At 3 months old, he gets diagnosed with brain cancer. I pray, I cry. It's got to be God's will. It's got to be His will, because I'm praying. I'm trusting, I'm staying clean, I'm doing all the things that I think he wants from me. And I've done a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, a 8th, a 9th, a 10th, 11th, and a 12th. So now I'm making a decision. I'm going to turn it over to you, God. I trust you, but I trust that my will be done, not his. So when Orion died, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? How could you do that? You don't care about me. You wouldn't give me the husband. You wouldn't give me the house. You stuck me with this fucking disease. You fucked up my finances. Like, how could you take this baby from us? Once again, I had to turn it over. I had to find a different relationship. I had to find a different understanding of his will for me. His will was in the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. His will for me was in that. Was that he gave me the strength, the power, you guys, these meetings, to live and to survive my emotions and my insane thinking. That was his will for me. To live this thing in grace and dignity, to feel my feelings without the use of drugs. His will was that a meeting was open when Orion died. And my daughter and her boyfriend went to go smoke weed. And I took him to the morgue. And I left. One of y'all answered the phone. There was a meeting open and I was able to go to the meeting. That was God's will. He made sure that there was someone there to protect me, to love me, to comfort me, to give me guidance, to give me strength. God's will may not always be what I think it is. It doesn't look that way. I have a different understanding of his will for me today and the decision that I make. So I decide every morning, not just once, every morning, listen, God, I'm going to turn my will over to you. I'm going to give it to you in the morning. Then on the highway, I got to do it again. When I get to work, I got to do it again. So I don't just give it to him one time. Because I am human and because I am perfectly imperfect, I always have to make a decision. That was the other thing he did, is he gave me the power of choice. I get to make that choice every day. I get to choose. What I understand about God now is that he is loving. He is caring. He gives me things that I need, not necessarily what I want. So I listen to David and I listen to Lawrence talk about their wives, right? I am always the third motherfucking wheel. I'm always somebody's fucking third wheel. I hate the shit. I had been in a relationship. I gotta change my language. I'd been in a relationship with this guy for about 10 years, right? And I'm gonna say the last 7 of it was willful. It was really hard to reconcile my feelings because I was being presented with the family, right? He had 2 other children that I helped him raise. But when their mother came back, I had to step aside. My will was to be their mom, to step in, to be, to show them, to be a part of their lives. That was my will. God said something different. And I stayed and I dragged myself for the next 7 years. Whew, praise him. And when I woke up, I was by myself. And mother came back, they were with their mom, And I tried to ask God, like, what was that about? Like, why did you do that to me? And he let me know, right? How he let me know is through you guys. Was that I was on assignment, 12th step. I was supposed to give back what was so freely given to me. Y'all took care of my kids. Y'all took care of my family, right? Y'all gave me the ability to become the mother that I am today, the daughter that I am today, the family. Like, you gave that back to me. All I was doing was giving it back. It didn't belong to me. I think that stuff belongs to me. It doesn't belong to me. It is all temporary. It is all temporary. So every day that I decide, I know that every day that I make that decision, that everything that is done is perfect. Everything that he does is perfect for me. Does it always feel good? No, it doesn't. Do I always understand? No. This is one of the hardest steps for me. This step right here is to make that decision, because I want what I want, when I want, how I want it, and I usually have to hit a brick wall before I go like this. All right, I'm done. I'm done. All right, you got it. But I don't want to do that anymore. I want the freedom in being able to make that choice. So I'm able to stay still. I'm able to sit with myself. I'm able to take a moment, stop, take a breath, and say, all right, God, what would you have me do? Right? That's something that I practice every single day. All days it doesn't feel like I didn't want to be here this morning. I didn't want to come. I didn't want to expose myself. I didn't want to be afraid. I didn't want to deal with those feelings. But even though I didn't want to, my practice is to do his will. Because his will was when I got the phone call for me to say yes. That he exposed me to it. He presented what he needed in front of me. And that's all I need to do. Everything else I create, that becomes chaos. This was a simple ride coming here this morning. There was no traffic. There was no drama. I was able to get up. Like, it was easy. But if I did this, let me tell you. let me tell you about this, right? So, this same relationship that I've been in, one of the arguments was that he wanted me to be more supportive of his support group, right? So his support group consists of a lot of women, right? He is very popular. He's got a lot of clean time. When he walks in, everybody goes, ooh, everybody fucking gets dreamy and shit. The women are very disrespectful. We can be very disrespectful, right? Both people play a part. But he wanted me to be more accepting of his support group that I'm not a part of, right? That I watch him hug. He has never fucking hugged me the way I watch him hug some of these people, right? Some of this could be mine, but I know a lot of that shit is his. And I said, okay, I'm going to be open. So when he asked me to share and asked about other people, some other people that I asked weren't available, and he came to mind. And I said, Joe, would you want to share you and, your little side piece? I'm sarcastic. I call him because she dresses like him. They go to events together. That's his running, but he got a nickname for her and all this old crazy shit. So I said, Joe, y'all want to come and share? He said, well, I can't share. She can, though. Hold on. And he called her and got somebody else. So 2 of them were supposed to come. Do you know when I called this morning? He said, oh, no, we're not coming. God's will be done. It wasn't supposed to happen, right? My letting go process needs to be total and thorough. This was bigger than this was about me. This was really about me in a way, in the way I was letting go and holding on and trying, and like I don't need to really do that anymore. And he said, no, I got you. He said they will not be showing up there. They could take their asses and share all over the country somewhere else. But this is for you. This ain't for them. Right? So every time that I try, right, and I'm not angry at myself and I'm not angry at them, I was like, okay, thank you, God. Like, all right, I got it. I get it. Okay. Here I go being willful yet again, right? So let me make the decision. All right, God, I'm going to turn it over. I'm sorry. Thank you. Because my first thought was I'm calling him back and I'm cussing him out from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Fuck you. Like, how dare you do that to me? Wow, but you shared theirs last week. You was the main speak. You. No, Kathie. No. Yes, he was. Yes, he was, David. Yes, he was. So a lot of times when I look at my life, right, I can see how selfish I am, how willful I am, how untrusting I am, how unworthy I feel, how I still control is still a glaring character defect for me. And I get an opportunity to practice every day. My sponsor, when I talked to her on the way here, she was talking about, I do the best I can, and sometimes my best doesn't always look the same every day. It doesn't look the same. I do the best I can every day. Every day I make the decision. I really believe in that. I try to tell another recovering addict, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing. I still practice. I still call my sponsor. I still tell her things. I still look to her for guidance. I do have some permission to think. Like, I do have a step 10 where I go and look at my day, and because of those internal mechanisms, I get to say and tell myself the truth. You know, you could have done that differently. You know, you shouldn't have done that. Maybe you need to apologize. You know, like, I have that barometer now, right? Because of these steps, because of these traditions, because of service, because of you guys, because of my relationship with this God, I do have it, right? The problem is sometimes I don't want to stop long enough to pay attention to it, right? And then he'll sit me down and say, right? And even when, because I believe that my God is, and my relationship with him is necessary for me to be disciplined. It's necessary for him to look like spank me and say, see, I told you don't go over there. You know, like when we were kids and we would touch the stove and mom say it's hot and we go touch it again and be like, damn, she was right. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need a little spanking. You know what I mean? I think that I'm kind of running out of gas too, right? I'm grateful. I thank you guys for being willing to sit here and listen to me blather on about the third step, right? There is no perfection. There is no there. There's only this willingness, this open-mindedness, and this willingness to let go. That is sometimes the hardest thing that I've had to do, is to let go of what I think based on my circumstances. So like I told you, I'm not married. I live alone. I was complaining to Lawrence last night. So I went to, I'm gonna say this in close. I went to BJ's. And I went to get a couple of things. And when I finished, I had like boxes of stuff, right? And I was angry. I was like, yo, I'm going to be 55 next Sunday. And I was like, yo, I'm too fucking old to be doing this by myself, man. I need a man. I need a husband. I need somebody to fucking take care of me. I don't want to fucking take the bags out the fucking car and stop the car and put the shit. Like, yo, where is my Boaz? Like, where is he? Like, fuck. Hanging out with these dudes and they got wives and they doing shit for their wives. And, like, I'm sick of this shit. So I call and I complain and I cry, right? And I say, yo, thank you, God. I thank him anyway. I'm willing anyway. I won't shop because I feel that bad. I won't cuss anybody out because I feel that bad. I will embrace my emotions. I will embrace those negative thoughts. I will thank him. And I'm grateful that I get the decision to do that. Because I can fuck it up if I want to. You know what I mean? But I'm so grateful. So I stopped my car, put on my hazards, and I took one box and I put it there. And then I got in the car and I took another box and I took it there. And then I went and parked the car and then I walked back. And every time I took a breath, I said, thank you, God, please. Thank you, God, please. And I took my time. Because in those moments, me and him have the best relationship. We have the best conversations. I get to take a look at all the things that, like, I'm comfortable in my skin. He gives me some abilities that I didn't know I had. And I'm so grateful. With that, I'm just going to tell you guys, thank you for letting me share.